don't talk about their feelings. Like they sit in the back of the classroom and they entertain themselves, etc., without getting involved. They think, you know, it's being cool. Right, you see. So, so we have to get to them, you know, the gut feeling, you know, what's happening on the inside of you? What are the things bothering you? And if you ask them on an individual level, they say, oh, I'm fine. They could be bleeding on the inside and we'll never know it. Parents discover that. They say, well, I didn't know he was having these kind of problems. I mean, I didn't even know he had a gun. Okay?
Good.
Now, so we deal with them very directly. And we don't, we believe in the Big Brothers program, but some of these fellows need godfathers. A large number of our young people drop out of school for one reason. And that's because no one has told them that they can't drop out. We tell them as godfathers, you will stay in school. And they need to hear that. They need to hear a firm concern. And I think that is the difference between the godfather. We give them a firm concern. We're concerned about them, but we demand certain things. One of the things we demand is they go to church on Sunday. Because children who go to church on Sunday or Saturdays, whatever your faith might be, don't drop out of school. They're less likely to drop out of school if they go to church on Sunday. So if we can keep them in church and school, they're likely to graduate someday. So what our program basically is to get them through those 12 years. Okay.
Now, what about the funding for such a program? It seems to be a very, very ambitious kind of program, and I think you've got it in 5 states. What about the funding, and what are some of the sources of funding that you'd like to have in reference to that? Is there anything that perhaps our audience this morning could do to help you in dealing with these young men, or young people, period?
Yes. Well, the Progressive Baptist Church, where I'm pastor, sponsors the local Godfathers program here. And we certainly welcome any contributions for that program. A lot of people donate their food, they donate time, but we don't have any huge grant. It's basically we give our time and we give our energy, and we also appreciate contributions to help take the young people on trips. Like we have trips planned for Memphis, Tennessee, and to the Civil Rights Museum, and the Birmingham Civil Rights Museum in Atlanta, Georgia. So they can help when we sponsor these trips. They can sponsor individual young people, and they can also come and go on the trip. So we welcome not only just young people, but everybody. It's an educational experience, and that is one of the ways that people can help.
This might be quite early, but in view of the trip that you're planning on taking this coming summer, how much do you think it would cost to send one person there and back and do what you have to do during the time you're at that trip? And because I would imagine that there are some members of our audience who could probably afford to perhaps send one young person on a trip like this. How much would you have as a projected cost to do something like that?
Well, we're talking about about 7 days in terms of the orientation and everything else. The trip is estimated to be approximately $550 will take care of a young person who would go on the trip all the way to Washington, D.C. and back.
And so those persons who would like to participate simply by donating money or donating resources, $550 would at least take one person to Washington and give him or her that kind of experience that you're trying to get across to your young people. And I'm almost sure that there are people out who would be willing to make such a contribution. Dr. Lafayette, I think that there are many other things that we'd like to talk about, but certainly before we move beyond the institution, let's talk about some of the other things that you believe to be important in terms, over the next 5 minutes, in terms of achieving what you consider to be your goals.
One of the goals we want to establish at the college is that we need some kind of institution that will address the critical, issues of violence in our schools and in our community. And we need, some time ago we had at Fisk University the human relations workshops and that sort of thing. Dr. Herman Long, I remember when I was very young, do that. We're back at that period again. Dr. Haney, we have to go back to the drawing board in helping people understand these basic things about, human relations and that kind of thing. We still have people with all kind of racial animosity, and brutality and that sort of thing. And we have to address those problems. So I'd like to see us do that. Also, our school, we hope to get a student body of about 500. Now, one of the things I want to make sure we emphasize is that we have a program set up where a person can finish 4 years of college going in the evenings as a working student, and who have families and that sort of thing. And we're having very good success with that because we cater to adult education. And so therefore, those who want to complete school, and we also take transfer credits. Those who have gone to school and dropped out and think they never get back in, we have a program for them. And we invite them to come to the college, make an analysis of the transcript and some of the other things they've done to see can we help them complete their education, because we think that's important in terms of a person's life experience. So we encourage not just the children and the young people, but we have all ages. We have people finishing school who are over 70-some years old, and it's a great experience for them as well. So this is one of the things we want to emphasize. And then we also have summer school. We have concentrated courses where they can go for a concentrated period of time as well. And we're on a semester system, but we make arrangements. We have individualized studies as well.
So American Baptist College is really geared not only to serve the daytime student, but to serve the part-time or the evening or night student as well, and you can get a full degree after work, so to speak, after part-time in a real sense.
Well, full-time.
Full-time with a full degree in full-time activity.
In the evenings,
In
right?
the evening, very
Yes.
good. And so all of those things are happening now at American Baptist College.
Yes.
And these are some of the things that, the goals that you've already laid out are some of the goals that you're working on. Now, why don't you give us some information again about that inauguration? What date is that? And
Yes.
As a final statement here.
Right. The presidential inauguration for the American Baptist College will be March 22nd, which is a Monday, and it will be at 2 p.m., 2 to 4:30, and following that will be a reception. But we look forward to a very exciting time, and of course you are invited to come.
Well, we certainly
expect you will be there, Dr.
We certainly appreciate that, and we will be,
Yeah.
Dr. Lafayette. And let me thank you, Dr. Lafayette, for coming by and giving us that information about American Baptist College and about Godfathers and some of the other activities that you're involved in. And we certainly appreciate that because we know the kind of schedule that you have now. And again, let me encourage you to tune in again next week for another informative edition of Comments. Thank you and good morning.